All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have multi-platinum producer from the 313, Detroit, Michigan. We got Detroit Red right here live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
I can't complain. Everything is good. Everything is good. Alhamdulillah.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, man, since we connected, I have to say, it's been an absolute honor just to be able to chop it up with you and whatnot, man. But I've been a fan of your releases and the work you did for so many years, man. So just thank you for giving us a bit of your time here this evening.
Oh, no, I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you.
But I know you're a busy guy, man, so I'm going to dive right into this interview. But I want to take you back to the beginning, man. And I have to ask, what actually made you decide to get into the music industry initially, man? Because you are so talented at what you do, man. Your roots run so deep.
Well, I credit it to my brother and my father. My father was actually 46 when I was born, so he was really in the 1950s jazz, Birdland. He was a record collector. So every Sunday he'd sit me down and school me. And my brother is, I guess, arguably, he formed a group in the 80s called A Number of Names. And I guess that's arguably probably the first techno record to ever come out in the country, in the United States. So it was those two that made me get into music. As a kid, I wanted to be my brother. He put out a record called Shari Bari in Detroit. And they basically started techno. And so I just wanted to be like him with the Jerry curls and the suits and all that. But I was a kid, I was too little. So I just always wanted to do what my brother was doing. He was a DJ and a producer and was putting out vinyl, up at Archer Records back in Detroit. So I just wanted to be like him.
And I have to ask, man, did you ever have the opportunity to kind of like join your brother's group, or was that just something like the older kids did back then?
Oh, no, because it was kind of like my brother was in high school when I was born. So he's kind of old enough to be my teenage father, because my nephew is not that much younger than me. So, I was just watching him. Eventually, once I became a teenager, he took me in the studio. He was actually on the radio in Denver, and I got to go see MC Hammer. I got to meet Boys the Men, TLC, Jermaine Dupri. So he would take me around with him, and I was just like, man, I want to get on. I want to rap. So I started writing, and he was in the studio working with people, so I was just always trying to impress him. Like, that was the thing. I was like, man, if my brother says I'm nice, he's going to put me on. So as a kid, probably about sixth grade, I started writing rhymes and just trying to rap. And, I sounded like, Das Effects or whoever was popping in the early 90s, and Chuck D, those were my guys. And so, I just really wanted to get on, so I would just go around my brother like, man, put me on. And he'd be like, whatever. But he would take me around so I could kind of get exposed to things,
And also as well, man, all that practice actually paid off, man, because I actually read that you first gained major exposure within the music industry with your verse on Lil Wayne's Dedication to mixtape. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about that. And of course, how did you actually initially get connected with the one and only Lil Wayne?
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to keep that short. Long story short, I went to college at Clark, Atlanta. And when I got to school, there weren't a lot of people doing music because there was no access to laptops and these different programs. And so, there were laptops, but people weren't really on it like that. So, we had turntables, 2 turntables, we had mixers, we had samplers, MPCs, SP1200s, and we were, skipping class and going to buy vinyl. So, I was actually in school with DJ Drama, Don Cannon, Willie the Kid. We were actually in college together at that time, and we were really serious about music. This was before it was a game. Before it was as accessible as it is. You had to really put up some money and be serious if you wanted to do this. So anyway, long story short, I went to Miami with Don Cannon, and we were making a record for Trick Daddy. And we were just in the studio making beats. Fiend from No Limit was there. DJ Khaled popped in. And so we were at Circle House Studios just making beats, making beats. So Fiend comes in and he wrote a verse over the Cannon beat. And Trick heard it. I don't know if Trick liked it or whatever. I'm not really sure what happened. So we got back to Atlanta, and I was sitting in Don Cannon's crib, and I'm like, yo, let me get that. Let me kick a verse on that. So I spit a verse, then Willie came in. He came in the crib. He heard it. He spit a verse. So then me and Will, we went out. We used to hang out a lot, man, in the streets, running around Atlanta acting a fool. And I got a lot of stories about that. But so anyway, we come back to the crib. Don Cannon's like, yo, I got a surprise for y'all. Busta Rhymes is on the record. I'm like, whoa. So the record started out, me, Willie the Kid, and Busta Rhymes. And then Freeway jumped on it. Then Lil Wayne jumped on it. Then T.I., it just turned into this big down-the-line joint. And those are basically the kind of records we used to do in college. Like, we would just, like, somebody would make a beat, and if the beat was crazy, everybody would just get on it and spit a verse, kind of like the symphony. And, you know, whoever was whack would get taken off of it. So, yeah, fortunately for that particular mixtape, my verse got picked, you know, so I was able to, you know, that was a good look. You know, I appreciate DJ Drama also for giving me the opportunity to represent and display my skills as an MC, you know.
And also as well, man, another phenomenal mixtape that you actually had the opportunity to be a part of, and that's when I actually first discovered you personally, man, was actually back in the mid-2000s, when you actually worked with the one and only Don Cannonantonio on the 28 Grams of Volume 2 mixtape. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about that mixtape, and of course, what was it just like working with G-Unit's Tony?
Actually, during that time, we were really pushing the pedal to the metal. So, Don and I were really working side by side a lot, you know, producing tracks together and doing a lot of writing and different things. We were trying to get Willie the Kid off the ground, which we were successful in doing that. You know, we were able to get him a deal and get his project out. So we were just working. Like, we were like a machine. You know, it was, back then it was just me, Don Cannon, Willie. I think the affiliates were just forming at the time. So, you know, that was DJ Drama, DJ Sense, a lot of Dark Man. So it was just every day. So we just had a large base of content, a lot of songs, a lot of production. So Don was just he was just putting out mixtapes just crazy back then, like, and we were literally feet on the ground trying to get them everywhere we could. So a lot of times songs that I do or beats I do, they just end up on the mixtapes. You know, we just dig into the archives and find something, bam, there it would be. And that's kind of almost the same thing that happened with the Cannon remix. Like, we were just working so much, just doing so much music that stuff would just end up coming out. Sometimes unbeknownst to me, you know, I'd be riding around and hear myself on the radio like, whoa, and I called, like, yo, when did you put that out? You know, it was just crazy. We were just working. You know, we were just staying in the lab, just constantly working all day, all night.
And I gotta say as well, man, that the mixtape era was my favorite within hip-hop, man, because I remember all the time going on DatPiff as a teenager in high school, man, and downloading all them Don Cannon mixtapes, you know, the DJ Green Lantern. Like, those were the days, man. I really wish those types of mixtapes would really make a comeback.
Oh yeah. You know, it was a beautiful time, and you know, the thing with music is it's all about timing, and I feel like I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Like, it was just a good time, you know, because I felt like it was not to take anything away from artists today, because there are a lot of dope artists now. So, but that was just a beautiful time to be in it. You know, I feel like you had to really want to do it because it wasn't easy. Like, you had to spend a lot of money and a lot of time, and a lot of times you weren't making any money at all, and you were putting up a lot of money, you know, just to be heard, just to be seen. You know, we didn't have Instagram or any of that stuff. You had to put some bread up to put a record out. So, you know, it was a beautiful time. You know, we got to see who really, really loved it and who was really dedicated to it.
And also as well, man, you actually had the opportunity to work on 50 Cent's 2007 album titled Curtis, where it actually became multi-platinum. I was wondering, how did that opportunity arise for you? And of course, what was it like just being in the studio with the one and only 50 Cent?
Well, that's not actually how that happened. 50 came to town, and Don called me, and I think Don was going out of town. This is crazy. So he said, "Yo, 50 coming to town. You gotta work. I mean, we gotta give him some stuff like now." So I actually went to the studio and took his motif out of the studio and went back to the crib and plugged the motif into the ASR. And I stayed in my house for like 3 days straight. I turned my phone off and just stayed in the house and just made beats. And then I put that beat on a black and green CD. I'll never forget it. It was 60 beats. And I just passed it around. I just gave it to everybody. And Don called me with Shot Money XL on the phone one day. And they said, "Yo, are you there?" I was actually, it was a crazy time because I'd actually like lost my job, got put out my crib, and then I got another job and I was back in the crib. And it's always when you hit the bottom when you go up. So I'm at work and Don called me with Shot Money on the phone. And Don like, "Yo, you sitting down?" And I'm like, "Man, don't play with me." He's like, "Yo, Shot Money, you there?" I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Yo, man, congratulations, you made 50 Cent's album." I'm like, "Man, why y'all playing?" I almost hung the phone up. But it was dead serious, and it just went full speed after that. It was crazy. So I had the opportunity to link with Shot Money from there, and me and Don just started going even harder. It was funny how that happened, and we just started going even harder, just making more tracks. So it was a beautiful thing.
And I have to ask as well, man, just pertaining to like you making the Curtis record, man. I was wondering, what beat did he choose, and of course, like what song did it end up being on?
Well, yeah, on Curtis's album, the song was called "Man Down." It was track 3. So the way that came about was every morning I would get up and make. I had a job like working at a hospital. I used to deliver oxygen. So every morning I'd get up and make 2 beats before I left. And so I was listening to Eka Mouse. And like I used to just walk around the house and listen to music. And then I was listening to Eka Mouse because I like the grooves and the pianos. I was actually listening to the album, The Very Best of Eka Mouse. I think I was listening to Wild Like a Tiger or something like that. The one where he's like, "Red in that joint." And then so I started humming the pianos. And then I sat at the motif and just made that real quick before I left, went to work all day, and I came back, and I forgot how the beat sounded. And that's how I know if a beat's dope or not. So if I push play and I don't like it, then I just kill it. I used to kill it. People used to hate when I did that, but I hit play and I loved it, and I was just like, man, I gotta send this joint out. Like, but yeah, I was making a lot of beats that weekend. Then I came back that weekend and just made I just kept going. Just made beats, and then I put them on a CD and just it was really timing. It was just timing, just hard work, preparation, and when when the pitch came, I hit it out the park. That's all it was.
And also as well, man, another amazing individual you had the opportunity to work for is actually the one and only T.I. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about that, and of course, what was it like just working for that amazing, talented individual?
Yeah, T.I., that was Drama. I think after the first record, Drama began working very closely with T.I., with the mixtapes. And so I had the opportunity to meet the PSC, and Drama. He brought us around, so I got a chance to see what they were doing, and of course, Don and I were trying to get on the albums, so we'd go back and cook up, and we were hitting T.I. with beats all the time, which at that time this was right around the time trap music came out. So it got kind of lit. So when things take off that much, you know, it's almost you know, it gets kind of competitive because there are other producers submitting. So, you know, Don and I just kept going. So what ended up happening was he rhymed over one of Don's beats, which actually ended up becoming Go Crazy for Jeezy. And that made a mixtape, but then Jeezy ended up using it for Go Crazy. So then we went in the studio for Drama's album, and Don made a drum pattern, and I came and played the piano, played the motif over it, and then he sent that to T.I., and he was like, yo, I want that. That was it. You know, Drama was like, yo, that's the one. So Drama put that on the album, then Willie jumped on there, Willie the Kid jumped on there, and Lloyd jumped on. We just kept building the song. It just kept going, and that ended up making Drama's album. So it just went down like that. So yeah, I've met T.I. a few times, man. Very, very cool dude. Very humble guy, man. Very humble, solid dude, man. And you know, I was glad to get that opportunity. That was dope.
And also as well, man, you are actually the CEO and founder of the Royalty Network, Royalty Network Inc. I was wondering, can you tell us a bit more about your company, and of course, what services do you actually offer to the general public?
No. I'm not the CEO and founder. That's a company that signed me. The Royalty Network. That's my publisher. So after 50's album came out, Curtis. At the time, it was a few publishing companies that wanted to sign me as a producer. So I had Cherry Lane. I met with Big John. Which that was a really good meeting. At the time, he was talking about getting me on CeeLo, and I met with a few people at Cherry Lane, and then I met with Don. I met with Z Edelman. Don introduced me to Z Edelman. We were at Zach Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. I was actually working with Mars from 1500. So it was me, Don, Mars, and my man Jack Frost from Philly. And Don introduced me to Z Edelman, and he was able to connect me with the Royalty Network. So I took that meeting, and I ended up signing a publishing deal with them, a co-publishing deal with them. So I'm still with them to this day.
And also as well, man, you actually had the opportunity to actually work with the late, great Nipsey Hussle. I have to ask, man, what is one of your most fondest memories you shared with the one and only Nipsey?
That was an incredible time, and it's funny because when you're in it, you don't even realize you're in it. But Nipsey was so... I couldn't even... Like, his vision was so big, I didn't even understand it at the time because, you know, he's a couple years younger than me, and we were both very young. And at the time I was working with them, you know, I was just young and hungry and trying to be the illest producer, and I was very immature. And Nipsey was, like, when he would talk to me, the couple times I was fortunate to be able to talk with him on the phone, and he just kick it with me and share his vision with me. Like, it was crazy to me to hear somebody as young as him talking about the things he was talking about, because you always hear things like that, but a lot of times people don't achieve them. So he was very inspiring. Like, he would literally call me. Matter of fact, when we were doing the record that I did, the Hustle in the House remix, and that had J-Rock and Mano on it. I was out in Atlanta running around playing, you know, doing what I do, acting a fool, and he calls me. He's like, yo, I'm in here with Mano and J-Rock. We trying to do a Hustle in the House remix similar to All About the Benjamins. You know how on All About the Benjamins, Biggie had a part at the end where the beat changed up for his part?
Oh, yeah.
So he called me with that idea. He said, yo, we want to remix the record, but I want my part, I want the beat to switch up on my part. So I said, all right. I'll cook something up, I'll hit you back. He literally, like, calls me back, like, yo, where you at? Like, yo, cuz, Detroit Red cuz. He used to call me Detroit Red cuz. Yo, Detroit Red cuz, we in the studio right now. Where you at? I'm like, all right. So I leave whatever bullshit I'm doing. I go back to the crib in College Park, and I fire up. He calls me again. Like, that's the thing. He was very persistent. He calls me like every, what you got, what you got, what you got. So I was listening, put out all my records, man. I'm listening to like MC8. You know, I listen to the classics to get inspired. So I'm listening to MC8. I'm listening to Sir Jinx. I'm listening to like Lynch Mob, Dell. We just listen to all my West Coast stuff, just trying to get my energy up. And one of the homegirls from Jamaica, my homegirl Megan, she like, yo, you should do that. Shout out to her too. She like, yo, you should do that Ghetto Bird by Ice Cube. Flip that joint and put that Sly Stone drum under it. I'm like, that's crazy. So I flipped that real quick, sent it to Nip. He called me back, like him and his manager Johnny Shipes called me back. They like, yo, it's done. Like, and so Hustle in the House remix was born. But yeah, I actually got plugged to Nipsey through my man Johnny Dutch. He was running with Shice Bubs and the Dipset and them up there in New York. So yeah, after I did work with 50, I was really in New York, just pounding the pavement, just trying to link up. And my man Johnny Dutch out of Brooklyn, he made that play for me, man. And so, you know, shout out to him too. He's got some stuff up on YouTube, and we actually finished another record with Grandmaster D from Houdini. That comes out at the end of the month, and him and Cake Dutch. So yeah, we just did a record with Grandmaster D from Houdini, man. And so yeah, man, it's same thing, you know, same crew. We just keeping it moving. But yeah, that's how that all came about. Just me going up to New York and linking up with people, and so Nipsey was actually up there. So I had a chance to work with Nipsey from the giddy up when things were in the infancy stage, you know, and that's the best time to do it, because I feel like you don't have to compromise. There's no pressure, and you can just make some dope stuff, you know. And so yeah, it was a beautiful time and a good opportunity. You know, I'm glad I got the opportunity to do that when he got that first deal.
And also as well, man, October 27th of 2020, you actually released the album 90 Degrees. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that amazing album, and of course, where can we actually purchase ourselves a copy today?
90 Degrees is on all streaming platforms. I'd actually been working on that for a while. 90 Degrees was kind of like it's an EP. It was kind of like a passion project, and the reason why I call the record 90 Degrees is because you know, my grandfather, he used to always say, upright on your square at a 90-degree angle. And for those who know. And I'm kind of like, you know, I'll get with a group sometimes, but I kind of like to be alone, so I'm not really with the whole circle thing. You know, I like to roll by myself a lot. You know, I like my solitude. I like being alone. And so people always talk about circles. I'm in this circle, I'm in that circle. And I say, I'm upright on my square, so I don't need a circle, you know. So that's how the whole 90 Degrees thing came about. So, yeah, Nat, I was just had some beats sitting around that people said, yo, you know, you should probably rhyme on those. So I just felt like it was time. It was time for me to release a project. You know, it's available on all streaming platforms. I've actually finished a few other projects this year that I'm getting ready to release in October. And now I'm working on visuals because, you know, my main thing is just visibility and distribution. So I'm working on getting the visuals together at this point. And I'm actually going to do visuals for 90 Degrees. So that's coming extremely soon. That's actually what I've been doing this week. But, yeah, that project was completely produced by me. Most of the music you hear on there, I played on either on the motif or on some VSTs. You know, I like to replay samples, so, you know, if you can tell where the sample came from, it's probably an interpolation. I didn't do a lot of sampling. I just did a lot of replays on there. But, yeah, check it out. And that's the other thing. When I put it out, I didn't announce it. I just put it out in the world, just wanted to see who answered the call, you know. If you find out, you find out. If you don't, you don't. But the next projects I put out, I'm going to put some bread behind it and really be working on promoting and marketing on these next joints.
And also as well, man, what is next for yourself Detroit Red, is there anything we missed during this interview? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the radio station airwaves this evening.
What's next for me is I'm going to just keep working. I'm going to do what I've always done. Keep my head down, and really the thing I'm focusing on is my business. You know, anything that happens for me in the industry, I feel like is meant to happen. So as far as the record industry is concerned, I just do my work and I put it out there. You know, if people want it, then it's going to happen. You know, I feel like anything that's meant for me, no man can take it away, and anything that's supposed to miss me is going to miss me. So I feel like the industry, you just do your work and submit it, and if people want to use it, then you get it. But as far as the business, I tell people all the time, you can always enter the music business, no matter what your age is, no matter what your situation is. You can enter the business if you have the determination and the drive, and you're willing to study and put the time and effort in. Anybody can get in the business and be successful. You know, you may not be as big as Drake or Beyonce, but you're going to get something. I promise you that. You'll get something. So that's my whole thing is that I've been working on this year, is just get my business handled, and I'm going to release a lot of instrumentals. I'm actually going to release a record. I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's going to be a dance record. It's a tribute to my brother and a tribute to Detroit dance music. So that's actually what I've been working on as well. And I'm still working with Grandmaster D from Houdini and Cake Dutch and John Dutch. And I just spoke with Freedom Williams not too long ago from CNC Music Factory. So I'm really getting into this dance thing, taking it back to my roots. But you're going to always get bars and production from me as far as hip-hop. You're going to always get that from me no matter what.
But also, Detroit, this is the time in the interview, man, that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just like a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Detroit Red if they're not already doing so.
Yeah, my social media is at Detroit Red Producer. And if you ever Google me, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. If you Google me and put in Detroit Red, where it says Detroit, just take the E out and put an X there. Because there's a few people that call themselves, many people that call themselves Detroit Red in the city of Detroit. Some of them are women, some are men, you know. So that's how I differentiate myself. The reason I picked that name is because at the time when I started rapping, the mafioso name was popular. And Malcolm X, you know, that's my hero. Like, I really try to emulate his character and his life. Like, I try to do everything he did, you know. And I realized one day I'm not going to make the cut. Like, he was very disciplined. He had a lot of character. So when I changed my name, I picked Detroit Red because that was his street name. So that's kind of as far as I think I'll make it as far as being like him, because he was one of a kind. There'll never be another one. So that's actually why I picked that name in honor of Malcolm, you know. So.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for just taking the time out of your busy evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM airwaves, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege to welcome such a legendary individual on the FM radio airwaves this evening, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. And, yeah, man, keep doing what you're doing. You know, we're trying to keep the culture alive and swing things in our favor, if you know what I mean.
Hey, man, I know exactly what you mean, man. And I appreciate you, brother. And again, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.